Have you heard about Relay's brand new pricing changes? Whether you're a solopreneur or you are a 7+ figure business owner who wants to continue to scale, Relay is a great solution for banking. Now, for as long as I've been using Relay, which is a few years now, there's only been one plan. Relay has primarily offered their account with no monthly transaction fees. And don't worry, Relay is still offering a plan with no monthly account fees, which is great, but they've also rolled out some pretty interesting new tiers that I've been looking into, and I've actually been pretty intrigued by some of the new functionality. Hey, I'm Jamie Trull, your favorite CPA and financial educator, and I'm back here today to help you navigate some of the changes going on with one of my favorite tools that I recommend a lot for my business, which is Relay. Now, the main reason that I love Relay, and the main reason I talk about it a lot on this channel, is because I love the ability to open up multiple accounts. It's actually the only Profit First certified banking platform. And so that has been really great to be able to set aside money automatically for things like taxes and for reinvesting back into my business or for paying myself. And I really appreciate that functionality that Relay has. And the great news is that even though they're moving into tiered pricing, that base functionality of being able to open up to 20 different bank accounts is still going to exist in all plans. But Relay is letting some current users be able to trial the new features. So I've been in there really trialing what is new and what is coming in Relay. And I want to help you decide if it makes sense for you to upgrade from that plan. And if you stick around until the end, I'm going to give you a quick calculation you can do to help you determine which plan is going to be best for you and if paying the extra money is going to pay off. So first, let's recap. There are 3 different plans. There is the starter plan that's going to be $0 a month. There is the grow plan, which is going to be $30 a month. And there is the scale plan, which it looks like is going to be about $120 a month. But as I'm recording this, is currently on sale for $90 a month. So I've put on the screen here a comparison of the different Relay plans, and you can look and see what the different features are. There's a lot of information here, but the biggest difference when it comes down to the checking accounts is that in Starter and Grow, you still get 20. But if you are a big company and they're really gearing this scale to those who are making over $1 million in revenue, then it actually will allow you to open up to 50 different bank accounts, which is a little crazy. But if you need that, then that could be a great option. And then you're going to have some of the same things when it comes to debit cards and credit cards. Cashback does get a little higher if you are using a Relay credit card. So if that's something you want to be able to do and have a Relay branded credit card, then you're going to get a little bit more in the scale. But the savings accounts, you're going to be able to have 2 in each of them. That stays the same. One of the biggest differences, though, and I'm going to talk about this towards the end of this video, is this savings account APY. So this is how much interest you're going to earn on these 2 savings accounts. So any money that you have in these is going to be earning interest on a monthly basis. And right now, and again, interest rates are always subject to change, so you can check the website to find out what the actual interest rates are now. But as I'm recording this, the starter is a 1.03%. APY, the grow is 1.75%, and the scale is 3.03%. And to me, a 3.03% is a great percentage interest, especially in a business banking account. However, again, we're going to talk about whether this makes sense here in a little bit. And a lot of this is still the same. You're still going to get that FDIC insurance through the partner Thread Bank, who is the member of the FDIC, up to $3 million. Now, as we come down here, let's look at what the difference is when it comes to receiving money. So really, you can tell there's not a whole heck of a lot of difference. It's all going to be essentially the same cost, which is in most cases $0 for ACH, wire transfers, things like that when you are receiving money. So that's good to know. But then when we come down here to sending money, there are some differences. Again, they're fairly subtle between the plans, but it is good to know, especially if you do a lot of sending money directly via your bank account. You're still going to get the standard ACH transfers. They're going to be cheaper for same day. You get 10 free per month. So if you do a lot of same day ACH, that could be worthwhile for you because instead of them costing $5 every time you do it, on scale, they would be 10 free and then $1 after that. They're a little cheaper for domestic wires, things like that. So you can see kind of here how it does get cheaper in most cases as you go up in plans. Now, bills, this is a new area that is really interesting to me, and there's some new features that are going to be coming soon as well. So we're going to be on the lookout for those. However, you can see that general kind of bill intake creation, if you use Relay for bill pay, some of you may be using your accounting software for bill pay, in which case this wouldn't be as relevant. But if you want to use Relay for bill pay, there are going to be more automations and things like that the higher up you go. So again, if you're somebody that's really interested in using Relay for bill pay, then these features could be interesting to you, especially as some of these newer features start rolling out. Now, when we're looking at expenses, again, you're going to get a lot of the core functionality in all three plans, including things like receipt capture and storage. That's going to come in all of the plans. Of course, you're going to be able to integrate with QuickBooks Online and Xero. And there's going to be some automations. Now, you'll see the one thing it looks like they don't have in the starter plan is going to be this custom bookkeeping automation. I'm not sure how needed that is. It looks like there is some default bookkeeping automation in there as far as the bookkeeping of what is going from Relay into your bookkeeping software. But I'm curious to see what that is. I wouldn't make the decision just for that, however. And then it looks like, again, they have some new features coming soon. These out of policy spend requests and insights and forecasting dashboard. I'm really interested in this insights and forecasting dashboard to see exactly what this is. Again, I wouldn't advise choosing this just for the coming soon because we don't know when this is going to be rolled out, hopefully soon. But I do find this really intriguing. I'm curious to see what this looks like because I am a big fan of numbers and dashboards. Now, the other new feature that is rolling out on all of these plans is inability to invoice customers. So I'm really excited about this invoicing and the ability to be able to collect payment from those invoices. This is something that I've been asking Relay about forever. So I'm super excited that they are rolling that out. Now, depending on which plan you get, what you can do with those invoices is going to be a little bit different. For the starter plan, it's going to be more basic payment links all the way to the scale plan, which will include things like branded invoicing and even potentially recurring invoices. So overall, I'm really excited for that addition and can't wait to use it myself. So what is my recommendation? Which plan is best? Well, of course, it's going to depend on your needs. You definitely want to take a look at the features and see if you find any of those intriguing. However, since a lot of them are still coming soon and you don't want to be paying for something that you don't have yet, I think the best thing to do at this point is to calculate out how much of a difference the interest you're going to make is going to be, and if you're going to make enough interest to offset the cost of the plan. And if so, then it probably makes financial sense to go ahead and do it. Okay, so here we go. Let's play with some numbers based on what the current interest rate is to see if it makes sense for you to upgrade just purely based on the extra interest you'll make. Here we are looking at the different plans for Relay, and I've put the starter, the grow, and the scale, and you can see I've annualized the cost. So $0 for starter, $30 times 12 is $360 annualized for grow, and right now at the $90 for scale, that would be $1,080 is what you pay for the year. And I've put in, of course, the interest rates. They are subject to change because, of course, interest rates are always changing, so check the current rates and do your own calculation. But based on what they are right now as I'm recording this, I've put those in, and you can put in what you think your average savings account balance is. So in those two savings accounts that you have for Relay, how much do you expect to kind of have in there on average? And so if you're kind of in maybe, the level where you're putting about $20,000 is going to sit in savings, maybe you're saving up for taxes or something like that, you can see that in this case, the additional cost of having the grow plan would not garner enough additional interest to cover that. So we're actually going to be paying more. Now, again, that doesn't mean that the growth plan or even the scale plan is wrong for you. It just means you won't offset the cost of that just with interest alone. So that's just something to be aware of. But if the other features are attractive to you, it could still be worth doing, especially if you're already paying for other solutions and this would replace those. So maybe there's some additional savings on that side. Now, let's take this number up a little bit and see what happens. So if your average savings balance is more like 50,000, all of a sudden we have broken even on the grow plan. We're going to essentially generate as much interest as we are cost, but you're going to get access to those additional grow features. So that's exciting. On the scale plan though, we're still gonna be a little bit less than what it actually is costing. So it's costing us $1,080 to be on that plan. We're gonna make an additional, again, this is additional over the starter plan, $1,000. So in this case, yes, we end up coming a little out of pocket, but again, there may be other features that make this worth doing. Now, once we kind of get into the higher amounts. And remember, the scale plan is really meant for those with over $1 million in revenue who might have some fairly sizable balances sitting in their accounts, sitting in their savings accounts. And at that point, now we're looking at some fairly sizable interest gains. So if we're looking at the additional interest, right, for the scale plan, if you have an average balance of $75,000 in your savings accounts in Relay, that would mean that you would be making, under these percentages, an extra $420. So you've paid $1,080 to be on the scale plan. However, your additional interest for being on the scale plan is $1,500. So now you're making money. And you can see as this goes up, it's just going to continue to make more and more sense. So again, I think this is really going to be a decision largely driven off of your average savings account balance that you plan to have in here. And if you sit on a lot of cash, this gets more and more lucrative, and it makes more and more sense to be upgrading into that higher plan. Now, just to see, in case this does end up going up to that $120 per month that they say that the scale plan is worth, then all of a sudden it changes a little bit in the equation. So when we go back to the $75,000, now we're close to breaking even. So at that point, if you're keeping above $75,000 on average, it's about when you're going to break even on that scale plan. So what I love is that even with the starter plan, you're going to have access to all the same great features that you have loved from Relay. So if you've been using Relay for a while and you're worried you're going to lose features with this switchover, that's not the case. And in fact, you're actually still going to get access to some more amazing features that Relay is coming out with, including things like invoicing. And then as your business grows, it might make sense to upgrade to the Grow plan or even the Scale plan, especially if you plan to have a lot of money sitting in those business savings accounts and you want to capitalize on it by earning the most you can in interest. So tell me in the comments below, do you already use Relay, and what are you thinking about these new plans? And if you're thinking about joining Relay and utilizing it, then definitely make sure to use my link. I have included the partner link down below, or you can go to jamietrull.com/relay. If you use my partner link to sign up, then you're going to get $50 once you complete that application, get approved, and fund your account. And the great thing is, that's true regardless of which of the different accounts that you sign up for through Relay. Now, of course, these deals are subject to change, so make sure to go to that page and see what the current deal is now. And I hope you love the solution as much as I do. I'll see you guys next time.